Hi everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing my spring eyeshadow palette recommendations with you guys. I've seen quite a lot of people do these videos where they share like the best palettes for spring, so I thought I would do my version on that as well and show you guys which eyeshadow palettes I would recommend for the springtime. If you are new here, then hi, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you found it. I upload beauty videos 4 times a week and I would love it if you subscribed. But for now, if you want to see my recommendations for the best spring eyeshadow palettes, then please keep watching. So I've chosen the eyeshadow palettes for my collection that either really scream springtime to me, or they're ones that I'm very excited to wear during the springtime and I feel like are nice shades for the spring. So I want to start with the one I'm actually wearing right now, and I'm not sure if this eye look is really showing up very well on camera because this is quite a light eyeshadow palette, but I have been really loving it and it's making me really excited for spring. If you see the eye look, then maybe you can already guess what it is. I'm of course talking about the Natasha Denona Pastel palette. This is the newest palette to my eyeshadow palette collection. I picked it up when it launched. I did a review on this that I will have in the info cards right now, but basically this is an all pastel palette and let me show you what it looks like. And as you can see, when you look at this eyeshadow palette, you just see a variety of basically all spring and summer eyeshadow shades. I'm super excited to create gorgeous looks with this during the springtime. Let me show you a close-up if you haven't seen it. So this is what the palette looks like. As you can see, we have a variety of mattes and shimmers in here, and even though all of the shades are pastels, I've been loving creating looks with this. I don't really own pastel palettes, so I was very new to this type of formula. The shades are definitely quite light. You can't really get a lot of depth from this, but I've been loving doing sort of like gradient ombre looks just like I'm wearing right now. I have on a peach and a pink, and it just makes me so excited to try something new with eyeshadow, and this palette definitely makes me excited for the springtime. If you cannot afford a Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette, then don't worry, there's lots of other pastel options on the market. I know BH Cosmetics has like the Los Angeles palette, which is basically a pastel palette as well, so if you are on a budget, then that one may be nice as well. I personally haven't tried that, but if you do have the money to spend, then I think the Natasha Denona one is a really nice one to invest in, only if you know you are going to wear pastel shades. It's not nice if you spend like this amount of money on a Natasha Denona palette and then never wear it. So if you do think you're going to wear the pastels, then I do think this is a nice palette from Natasha Denona. If you want to experiment with pastel shades first, then maybe it is a better option to get a more affordable one, but this one from Natasha Denona I really like, and I would definitely recommend this for the springtime. Another palette from Natasha Denona that I would recommend for the spring is the Midi Retro palette. This one is currently in my project pan, and if you watch my channel then you know how much I love this. I feel like this is such a great Natasha Denona palette. It's definitely my favorite Natasha Denona palette from my collection, and there are so many lovely shades in here. So this is what it looks like. This is definitely a bit more of a mauve color story. These ones are a bit more like deeper, and then we have some like warmer tones in there. They all lean a bit mauve, and I think that's just so pretty. I enjoy every single shade in here. I prefer Natasha Denona's creamy matte more than the cream to powder, but the cream to powders in this one I do like as well. And the shimmers in here are just so pretty, especially this shade here called Glitz is one of my favorites. Look how absolutely stunning that shade is, if you can see it. So if you do want to invest in a Natasha Denona palette but you don't think you're going to wear the pastel shades, then this one would be a nice alternative. It's still a bit more of that pinky mauve like colorfulness, but it's not as bright as the pastels, and you can create a bit more neutral wearable looks with this. So that is the Natasha Denona Midi Retro palette. Definitely one of my favorite palettes in my collection. And then I wanted to put another Natasha Denona palette in my spring eyeshadow palette recommendations, and that is the Mini Biba palette. This is one of the newest palettes to my collection. I only just got this a few weeks ago, and this is such a beautiful palette. You can create a gorgeous sort of like peachy eye look with this, and I absolutely love peachy eyeshadows for the spring and summertime. I think it's just so fresh and beautiful. So if you are wanting to try a Natasha Denona palette but you don't want to get like a midi palette, then this is a really nice alternative because you still have that amazing Natasha Denona formula without paying like $65 for an eyeshadow palette. So this is definitely a really great palette that I think a lot of people would like during the springtime. I know I'm personally going to be wearing this a lot during the springtime, and like I said, it's one of my favorite palettes in my collection. I haven't gotten around to play with it a lot, but from the few times I've tried it, I know it's a really great palette and I'm going to get a lot of use out of this. I of course needed to share a Tilbury quad in here as well, and the quad that just screams spring to me the most is the Pillow Talk quad, and that is because this is just such a fresh pink like wearable eyeshadow quad, and it's just so beautiful. Like for the springtime, I normally don't really do super intense eye looks. I like something soft and pinky, and this is absolutely perfect for that. So basically in this quad you're getting 2 mattes, 1 shimmer shade, and then a pop shade, which is kind of like a glitter topper. And I recently got this palette as a gift from Charlotte Tilbury, and I just feel like I've been creating the most gorgeous eye looks with this one. I've been loving how every single look turned out. I know some people say that Pillow Talk leans a bit more peachy on them. On me it's definitely more of this like pinky mauve color story. And this has become one of my favorite Charlotte Tilbury quads in my collection. It's just absolutely beautiful, and it works nice, the formula is nice, and it just looks beautiful on the eyes. So that is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk quad. I would highly recommend this one if you are wanting to try a nice Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow quad for the springtime. I of course couldn't do this video without sharing one of my favorite palettes in my collection, the good old Tartelette Juicy palette. I was thinking about putting my new Tartelette Full Bloom in this recommendations video, but I tried it yesterday and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I just need to play with it a bit more to decide whether I really like it or not. But this one I absolutely love. It's one of my favorites in my collection, my favorite Tarte product in general. And like I said, this is the Tartelette Juicy palette. And the Tartelette Juicy palette sort of reminds me of the Pillow Talk color story, but a bit more extended. We do have some deeper shades in here. We do have a shade that's a bit more peachy. Then we have some like lighter pinks, some deeper browns. And I just feel like I absolutely love the variety of looks that I can create with this. Every look that I make with this just turns out beautiful, and the shades are so easy to work with. If you are a beginner to makeup and you don't have like the most experience with eyeshadow yet, then this is a super easy palette. I feel like I've never messed up an eye look with this one. Yesterday with my Tartelette Full Bloom, I did mess up my eye look a little bit because I found that formula a little different to this one. So I still prefer the formula of this 12-pin Tartelette Juicy. I just feel like the shades are a bit more softer, a bit more easy to blend, and the shimmers are softer as well. But this is such a beautiful palette for the springtime. I absolutely love this, and every time I create a look with this, I just love how it turns out. So yeah, that is the Tarte Tartelette Juicy palette. If you guys watch my channel, you know this is one of my favorites in my collection. And then the last eyeshadow palette I wanted to share for the spring eyeshadow palette recommendation is not really like a spring palette when you look at it. I think of it more as like a summer palette, but I still wanted to put this in here because I know I'm going to be wearing this a lot during the springtime, and that is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. So this is his first eyeshadow palette that was released. I saw on Instagram that there's a new palette coming which is more like rosy toned, so I'm excited for that one as well. But I absolutely love this palette, and this is what it looks like. So as you can see, we have a lot of warm toned neutrals in here, and this shade and this palette is just absolutely stunning. I love the glittery toppers in here as well. I feel like with my NYX glitter glue, they look so pretty on the eye. I haven't been trying the cream shades a lot. I only tried them once, so I need to experiment with those a bit more. But the rest of the shades I absolutely love, and this is just such a nice eyeshadow palette. I feel like the shades look beautiful on the eye. It's the perfect amount of warmth for me. Sometimes I feel like eyeshadow palettes can look a bit too warm on me, but this one I don't have that. I just feel like it's the perfect amount of warmth while still looking a bit more neutral. So this is a very expensive eyeshadow palette. I personally got it with a discount code, and if you can get it on sale, then I would recommend it. Maybe in like the Sephora VIP sale, or when Cult Beauty restocked. I know they have like promotions sometimes as well. So yeah, if you can get this on sale, then I would highly recommend it. If not, then maybe think about how much you want it, because it is quite a pricey eyeshadow palette. I think this is one of the most amount of money I ever spent on an eyeshadow palette, but it is a beautiful one. And because these are neutrals, I just personally know I will wear them a lot. So yeah, that is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. I think this is also a gorgeous one for the springtime if you want something a bit more neutral. Okay everyone, then this is it for my spring eyeshadow palette recommendations video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the best eyeshadow palettes for the springtime from my personal collection. I don't have the biggest eyeshadow palette collection anymore, so that is maybe why I showed a different palette than some other YouTubers, but all of the palettes I just showed I absolutely love, and I know I'm going to get so much use out of during the springtime. Let me know in the comment section what the #1 palette is you're most excited to wear during the springtime. It can either be one that I showed you or just one from your personal collection that you're super excited to wear. I I would love to hear your spring eyeshadow palette recommendations as well. But if you did enjoy this video, then I would absolutely love it if you gave it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. All of these things would help me so much with my channel and I'd really appreciate it. But with that said, and thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you have an amazing day and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye!